If God is male, then the male is God. It's a provocative idea, but it points to a practical math problem. Imagining the ultimate authority as a man inherently elevates earthly men to a divine status. Look at the structure of this family from the 1950s. Male headship functions as a physical reflection of that divine hierarchy. The father leads the home in the exact way God is said to lead the world. This theology is explicitly detailed in modern conservative texts. Here, authors argue fatherhood is an essential attribute of the Creator, providing the blueprint for families. Furthermore, they frame biblical patriarchy as a necessary defense against a feminist war on masculinity. This creates a philosophical trap for women living within this specific worldview. If the absolute highest power and the earthly institutions built in his name are inherently and permanently masculine, what can a women's movement actually accomplish? It raises the central question we have to answer. Is the goal of feminism to politely negotiate for a slightly larger slice of a patriarchal pie, or is the goal to throw the pie out entirely? For Mary Daly, the answer was the latter. Daly was a brilliant theologian whose early career ambition was to reform the Catholic Church from the inside. She trained as a Thomas scholar, mastering the rigorous, complex philosophy of Thomas Aquinas to argue for female equality. But her approach changed when she used a press pass to infiltrate the Second Vatican Council in the 1960s. She walked in and witnessed this staggering scene, a massive, imposing sea of exclusively male clergy filling St. Peter's Basilica. Confronted by the sheer physical scale of total male dominance, Daly realized that the system was unsalvageable. The Church's hierarchy didn't accidentally forget to include women. It was intentionally designed to edge them to the absolute margins. In 1971, she made her stance public at Harvard Memorial Church. She delivered a searing sermon declaring the death of God the Father. Then she stepped down from the pulpit and literally walked out the doors, leading a mass exodus of women right out of the building. This exodus crystallized a radical new direction. The goal was no longer the pursuit of equality within the church or the state. The new objective was the complete, unapologetic rejection of patriarchal religion and society. To build a new reality entirely outside the established system, Daly needed a new set of tools. Her primary weapon became the total deconstruction and reclaiming of the English language. She urged women to sin big. As this typographic breakdown shows, Daly pointed out that the Indo-European root of the word sin actually means to be. Under a patriarchy, she argued, a woman simply claiming her own existence and self-actualization is the ultimate act of rebellion. She aggressively reclaimed words originally meant to demean women. A spinster was no longer a lonely old maid. Daly redefined the term to mean a cosmic creator, a woman who actively spins the threads of her own future. She also dismantled modern institutional vocabulary. She broke apart the word therapist to highlight what she saw as the hidden violence and control embedded within male-dominated psychiatry. Daly's ultimate goal was what she called boundary living. She wanted women to inhabit a separate, self-sustaining, female-centric reality that was completely severed from male influence. Daly's radicalism sent shockwaves through the culture in the 1970s. But this massive intellectual project contained a glaring omission regarding exactly who was invited into this new, separate reality. That omission was called out publicly by Audre Lorde, a prominent Black lesbian feminist poet. In an open letter, Lorde issued a direct structural challenge to Daly's entire framework. Lorde pointed out that Daly's new feminist reality was built exclusively on white Western traditions. Daly cited European goddess figures heavily, ignored African history completely, and only ever mentioned Black women in the context of helpless victimhood. Lorde exposed a fatal conceptual error. Daly had treated womanhood as a single universal experience. She ignored the reality that a person's race and class create distinct, measurable differences in how they experience oppression. Lorde famously warned that the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. She argued that treating white, Western femininity as the default standard was itself a tool of the patriarchy. By dismissing the lived experiences of Black women, Daly was using the master's tools. The irony was stark. In her desperate attempt to escape patriarchal control, Daly had unknowingly replicated its exact habits of hierarchy and exclusion. The friction between Daly's separatist vision and Lord's structural challenge forced a reckoning with the concept of a singular, universal womanhood. Look at this protest sign from the Third World Women's Alliance. It represents a shift toward what scholars call intersectionality, a framework used to track how gender, race, and class compound into specific, measurable disadvantages. The synthesis of these ideas revealed a hard truth. Merely replacing a male god with a female goddess, or isolating women away from men, doesn't dismantle an unequal hierarchy. It just changes the management. The core goal of modern feminism is the systematic dismantling of these overlapping hierarchies that sustain inequality. The objective is to identify and unravel every system that makes hierarchical oppression possible in the first place.